What's going on, guys? Welcome to your 35th Android tutorial with me, Travis, for my bringback. Basically your second tutorial for sprites and sprite animation. But what we're going to do, actually before we get into this tutorial, I just want to go over the key points again to get you guys understanding what we're doing and what we need to do. So all we're doing within this surface view example class is we're setting up the bitmap, which we decoded within our onCreate method. Pretty simple, and we also set up a sprite instance or object. And again, just to review, we set up this RView class, which is our surface view, and it kind of handles all of our graphics, our physics, stuff like that. Anytime something updates, we're doing that within this class here. So that's where we're going to define our sprite. Again, the construction of a sprite, it takes in something, two things within its parameters: a bitmap that we already set up, and also we're saying this, which is basically our view. We could also do our view.this. And so again, we just need our view for the first parameter and a bitmap for the second parameter. And then all we're going to do is we're going to call this onDraw method from the sprite class. So again, we need to create a method within our sprite class called onDraw. And again, within Eclipse, pretty simple. We can just hover over these. We can say create a constructor that takes a RView and a bitmap. So we're just going to do that. Click there, and then we're going to go back to our surface view example class. And we're going to go to this onDraw method, and then we're also going to say create method onDraw canvas, which takes again a canvas within the parameters. And again, this method, we want the canvas that we're working with, so that's what we're passing in again. Just get you guys kind of the key values, key points, all that good stuff. And we're getting over into our sprite class. As you can see, it set up the constructor for us and our first method called onDraw. And we also have to import our view class. So as you can see, this comes from our package name .the surface view example, because again, that's where we defined our view class. So after we add that import, we're good to go. We're good to start programming our sprite animation and all that good stuff. So the first thing that we want is, again, we want an x and a y value. So we're just going to say int x and int y. We also want a speed, because if we say x and y are both equal to 0 at the beginning, and we want to move it to the right, we're going to have to add to our x value a little bit and add to our y value a little bit. Or actually, if we're going right, we don't have to add to the y value, but we also want to set those up as well. So we're going to say int, and we could have done it on the same line, I guess, but we're going to say x speed and y speed. We also want the height and width of our bitmap, so when it collides into the wall, we can process that data. So again, we're just going to say int height and width. So again, we can kind of subtract that from the current position, so it looks like it collides with the wall, all that good stuff. And lastly, for now, what we want to do is we want to set up a bitmap, and we're going to call this blob, or we're going to call this just B, and that's going to stand for the bitmap that's being passed in. We also want to handle our view class as well, so we're going to call this OV. So now what we want to do is we want to set up these variables for our sprite class to equal whatever is being passed in from our constructor, if that makes any sense. So we're going to say b is equal to what's being passed in, so blob. Pretty simple, right? And also we want ov to be equal to our view. So now we are able to use the bitmap or the blob down here in this method if we refer to b. Again, we've kind of done this before when we worked with constructors. We're just obtaining that information so we can use it in other methods within our sprite class. Next, we want to set up our height and width values. So we're going to say height is equal to our bitmap that's being passed in again as well, which we can now refer to as b, and we're just going to say get height, and we're good to go. And also for our width, we're going to set our width equal to be b dot get width. Pretty standard methods I believe we've used before as well, but now we can kind of refer to those int values of the height and of the width of our bitmap. We also might want to set our initial x and y values to be 0, so we're just going to say x equals y equals 0, and we also want to set our x and y speed, so we're going to say speed is equal to, we'll say 5 to start out with, and also our y speed to be 0. Again, this is basically saying it's going to go to the right. As for now, it's not doing anything. We're just kind of defining that. So now what we want to do is we want to use this onDraw method, because again, within our surface view class, within the onDraw method of our surface view class, again, these are different methods. This is for our view, and this is where our canvas is unlocked and we're drawing to it. But what we want this class to do is we want to again draw to that canvas as well. So all we're going to do is we're going to refer to the canvas that's being passed in, which is called canvas. We're just going to say .draw bitmap, and we're going to use this one that takes a source, also kind of the scaling value of it, and the paint as well. So we're just going to click on that and get these set up. Again, for our bitmap, that's going to refer to our blob that's being passed in, which we relabeled B. For our source, what we're going to set this equal to, we'll actually get to that, we'll set that up here in a second. Just change the paint to null again, and now we need to set up the source value and this value as well. Both of these are rectangles. If you can see here from the method, they're recs or rectangles. So we're going to set those up. So we're going to set rectangle, and we're also going to set rec dst. And first, what we're going to do is we're going to set this rectangle to be a new rec for our source again. We're going to set it at the position 0, 0, and because that will be the top left corner of the bitmap. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say the width and the height. And we're going to change this later. This is going to be the actual section of our sprite sheet that we want to cut out. But as for now, we're just going to use our whole sprite sheet. So again, starting from the 0, 0, going as far as the width is and as far down as the height is. And then for our scaling factor, what we're going to do is we're going to say we're basically going to keep it the same, but we're going to refer to where it should be painted at. So we're just going to say new rec. We're going to refer to the x value and the y value, and then we're also going to refer to how far over we want it to paint on our sprite sheet as well. So we're going to just say x plus the width of the sprite sheet, and then we're going to say y plus the height. So let's just save this real quick, and we're going to save all of our projects, and we should get something on our screen now. Let's test it out. If you guys ran it, you probably saw that you got an error, and that's my bad. We're going to jump over to the surface view example class real quickly, and we're going to cut out this sprite where we set this up under our view, because again, I told you to throw it in the constructor, but since we were passing in our view as one of the parameters, and as our view is being set up within the constructor, it's going to give us a error message because obviously that's not good, trying to pass in something that's not fully constructed yet. So what we're going to do is we're just going to cut that line of code, and we're going to paste it down within our run loop while it's okay to run right above our canvas line as well. And we're just going to set that up where we create our sprite. Now if we run it, save everything and run it, you'll get something like this. Not animated, not cut out, pretty bland and boring. Our ball still works and all that stuff, so that's good at least. But now what we're going to do is we're actually going to animate this so it bounces off all 4 corners.